Hi, teachers. I'm Walter from EOT in Brazil. This is my partner and friend, Bruno Albuquerque, and
Hi, everyone.
we're here today to discuss yet another task of the Delta. And let me ask you a question. How much do you know about language? And I'm really talking about your language awareness. I'm talking about knowing the specifics, or not just being able to recognize tenses and aspects, but the little things that come with them that are embedded. So I'll see you in a second, and roda a vinheta.
Roda a vinheta. So welcome back, everyone. As Walter was saying, today we're going to talk about task 5 of Delta Module 1, Paper 1. Walter, can we have it on screen, please? Yeah.
Yes.
So this task, as Walter was saying, is very focused on language awareness. So if you look at it, you see that it carries 50 marks. And just a reminder, you need 100 marks to pass the exam. So there are 100 marks available in each paper. You need 100 total, right? So 50% of the test. So this is a very, very heavy one. And it begins focusing on genre, right? So the text for this task is reproduced on pages 7 and 8. So you're going to have the text to look at, and always look at the text because it will probably change your the way you answer. And for task A, it's genre analysis. So here you have to identify 5 features of the text that are characteristic of its genre and give one example of each feature you identify. I think it's important to mention here that for this task, you're not identifying 5 features that are in the text. You're identifying 5 features that are characteristic of the genre. So it's not that it's something that is included in this text that is a feature of the genre. So we probably should be careful with that. Walter, when I was preparing for this part, a tutor of mine gave us an anagram. Forgot the word. It's a combination of letters, right? That represent that each letter. Yes, clogs, right? So it's content, layout, organization, grammar and vocabulary, the G part, and style. So if you have this in mind, you can more easily analyze the text and identify 5 features. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are 5 here, right? So you can identify 1 feature of each. So what's the content? What's the layout? What common grammar or vocabulary usually appears in this kind of text?
Yes.
And in terms of style.
You find things, one of these. Remember that you can only use one about the layout, as the rubric said, and it has to be something that is specific about this genre. So you're analyzing the genre, right? Cool.
And then here we cannot include features of layout for this one specific.
Oh yes.
Right? Do not include features.
Oh yeah. So in this case, not even one. Well, this is the first time I say this. I've seen some mocks. This is the first time I see one that says no features of layout. Usually says do not include more than one. But fine, okay. So no features of that. But oh yeah, we didn't write about organization. The O is for organization.
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay.
Good
to
go. Here, Walter, you said I think you said that here we get 5 marks for part A.
Exactly.
Is that right?
We get 5 marks for part A, and we have 45 marks which are distributed between parts B, C, and D. All tests actually had a part E, if I'm not wrong, but that's like prior to 2008.
Yeah.
All right. Let's take a look at the text.
Mhm.
So this and this.
Mhm.
Very well. I already have something about organization.
Well, 18 paragraphs,
Yeah,
right?
like I would not only in paragraphs, but it is separated in two sections, right? You do have a
Mhm.
section for front
Oh,
cover, for
true.
back cover, so that could
Mhm.
go into organization.
Mhm.
But yes, yes.
Mhm. I would add to vocabulary. It's
Mm.
usually descriptive vocabulary. So we're talking about that this part of a book, right? Where you usually have information
Mm.
about the book and reviews and critiques on the book. So you're going to have very descriptive vocabulary here, and especially adjectives, right? So this stunning, volume, um,
I'm sorry. I thought I could zoom it in, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
So yeah,
right. So
okay.
we get adjectives, descriptive vocabulary. So you can include that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else is style?
Regarding grammar, let's take a look. I can't get out of this now.
You cannot zoom in.
I want to get rid of it now. Okay. Don't know what happened. But
I can
okay.
show
All
you
right.
here, and
Yeah.
then
Oh,
we can zoom in
okay.
here, right?
Great.
Um, and then I think this is what we have to say about letter A, right? So use
Mm-hmm.
clogs, use content, layout, organization, grammar, vocabulary, and style to guide you to find stuff, right? Usually layout is very, very easy, so that's why they remove, right? Sometimes they remove or they say, oh, only mention one feature of layout, and then you cannot
Mm-hmm.
get many free marks on layout here. What about letter B?
This is the interesting one.
Mhm.
This is like, remember my question in the beginning? This is really where you get to show how much you know about this stuff. This
Mhm.
stuff.
Mhm.
Well, the first thing to do is you cannot just look at that wording there out of context. You have to find it in the text. So Bruno, can you scroll up a little so just so we can see stunning
Stunning.
in there. So this is stunning volume. So you would this is the thing in the answer sheet you don't actually have to be sequential with those. So if you want to start with task 5, for example, no problem. So you write 5A and then you write what you have about each one of them, and then 5B, and then you start, you write stunning, and then you bullet point everything that you have about stunning. So let's go, right, Bruno? First thing, adjective used as
Yeah.
an adjective.
Oh, and then we have two parts here, right? So I comment on the form of each adjective, and then double I identify 3 problems learners might have with the pronunciation of these adjectives, right?
So
So
B
a
part 1.
suggestion, yes, B1, and then stunning, write about it earlier, write about it till you're done, and then part 2. Right, I think
Yeah.
it's a good way to organize.
So for example, let's do one of them. Yeah.
Okay.
You want to choose? Stunning,
Well, stunning is fine. Yeah.
revolutionary. Stunning is fine. Okay, so we could start with stunning. It is an adjective. It's a non-finite verb used as an adjective. There is affixation of ing to make, to build this adjective. What
Out of a
else?
verb, right?
Out
Out
of
of
a
the
verb,
verb stun.
yes.
You double the
It's
N because it's vowel consonant, vowel, consonant, and then you
Yeah.
have to
Oh,
double the consonant.
one that is interesting is that every time you're using a verb with ing and it is present, for example, present continuous, I am doing something, that is not a gerund, that's a present participle. A gerund is when you're using ing, but you're making that become a noun or an adjective. So this is actually used in gerund form, right? And it didn't ask us to talk about the meaning or the use,
Or
simply
use,
to
just
talk
form.
about the just form of these adjectives. I think it looks good enough. Yeah.
And that's it. And that would be it for B1 stunning. And then you would do that for all the others, right?
Yeah, indeed.
Okay.
Yes, the same thing, bullet point everything, and then you move on to B part 2, and then stunning again, and then we're gonna take a look at the problems in regarding pronunciation that students could have with these adjectives, which is interesting because in here you're not really you're not analyzing them into sentences, right?
It's just the adjective.
Yep. Can you think of something for stunning?
Yeah. For stunning, for example, students usually pronounce the G as a G because it's ing, so G, right? Stunning.
They wouldn't do the glottal. They wouldn't
The
produce
N
the
with
N with the
the
glottal
leg.
stop.
Yeah. Stunning.
Maybe the sound of U as in
Tuning.
they would do something different.
Revolutionary, probably the stress.
Yes,
because it's a very
stress
long
would be a
word.
problem. There, some of them will have problems with the schwa sound being pronounced as a different sound. For example, recognizable, recognizable, zabo. Maybe this, and there we go. You have some examples in there. Remember, B part 1, write the words, and then write everything. Oh, by the way, in the mocks that I saw in the past years, they didn't really do this thing. They actually had sentences and things were like bold, and you had to, for example, I think in my test I had to comment on the use of relative clauses, which seems to be a common thing in there. Anyway, but yeah, anything could happen.
Yeah, I don't remember what I did in mine. Yeah.
Yep. Part C.
Comment on the use of articles in the following extracts. Okay.
And it is the use, not the form. That's important to stress. So when you look at, can you make it a little bigger?
Like this?
Yes, that's great. Okay, so the images, you have to remember that the is usually precedes singular forms, all right? Singular a noun form, and in here it is before a plural form. So it already makes me think that, okay, it's used to specify the images.
Yeah, and I think this is an anaphoric reference.
Yes.
It's referring to something already mentioned. So when we have here the images capture, so between lines 1 and 10, they probably talk about the pictures.
Yeah.
And the images that grace
award-winning
pictures,
photographs. Award-winning photographs. So it's anaphoric reference to the photographs in line 8. And you would write that down just like that. It's an anaphoric reference to the to photographs. Good, very good. All right.
And
do you want
the same will be done for all the others, right? And when they mention the lines here, it's for you to find the words more easily in the text, but also encouraging you to use the lines. right? So when I was answering this activity, I remember writing, just like you said, it's an anaphoric reference to the award-winning pictures in line, right?
Oh, yeah, there's something important about that too, which is even though you are gonna write something, you're gonna describe something, you have to be very objective. Don't write like 2 lines to talk about one thing.
Oh, yes.
It's just one thing, so be very objective. Don't go too long in the prose there, right? Do you want to talk about wildlife, maybe? Oh,
Yeah.
unique. That would be interesting to talk about pronunciation. But okay, wildlife would be more. There is there is a lesion
Of the
of
article here.
of the article. There's no okay, so it's
Line 19.
There is a name for it when you don't have the article. I forgot it.
Zero article. I don't know. Just
zero
no
article,
article.
no article, omission of the article, something to say that you wouldn't use it because wildlife is it's a common noun, but it is uncountable, and you cannot have an article before uncountable nouns.
Oh, good. Okay.
So that would be the use in there, for example.
All right. Nice.
Great.
Yeah.
And now we have form and use again, and then we go with verb to be. The first thing you just go like was like look at the following extracts from the text. Comment on the form and use of the verbs in bold. Steve McCurry was on assignment. If you're gonna go with form, it's a past form of verb to be for the third person, and you are gonna write that
Singular.
down just that way. Yeah. It's a non-finite verb.
I think that's
it's an irregular verb. Right.
Used in the affirmative form.
And then on use, it is it's a copula verb as well, a linking verb, and it is connecting the subject to the complement. It is used to connect the subject to the complement. Yeah,
it's the main. It's being used as the main verb of the sentence.
And then if you compare that to the third one, was developed, in that case, verb to be is an auxiliary. And it is necessary for the passive form, right? So I guess you can pretty much have an idea, right? I guess this is kind of like what you're gonna do in this task, and believe me, you're gonna write it an entire page.
Yes,
like because there are 45 marks that are distributed. What is wrong with me saying that word today? They are spread out between B and D, right? They distributed these marks in there. So yeah, not everything is gonna be in the answer sheet for the marker, but it is what they call a brainstorm task. There is not like, oh, write 5 for each. No, you just write as much as you can with the time you have for the task. And once again, I remind you, some people choose to do some tutors advise and recommend that you do this task before all the others. But as Bruno said, some people don't like that. They like to do things sequentially, and it's I think it's also worth a try. You should try both before doing the test.
See what works.
Bruno, can you stop sharing?
Yes.
For a sec? Yeah. Okay. Any remarks for task 5, for this task?
I find this very
like
difficult.
on a personal note. But like, do you
I
remember
find this very difficult.
It's difficult. Yeah.
Yes, I find this very difficult because it's usually, I feel that the other tasks, and especially the tasks that are coming in paper too, I find them very real life like. As in, we do these kinds of tasks when we teach, right? So we analyze students' production. We looked at jargon and their definitions. So when you're studying, you need to look for definitions. We're going to look at tests. We're going to look at course books. So it's very real life like, and we do that very often. For this one, analyzing grammar in this depth wasn't common for me. So this activity, this task was very, very hard for me.
Yeah, we are not used to scrutinizing language as like this much, right? I wanna leave our viewers a good recommendation of books that I think would be very useful for this task. The first one would be About Language by Thornbury. Bruno, do you agree?
Yes, absolutely.
And the
That
second
one, the Parrot, Martin Parrot's grammar for English language teachers. Yeah,
I'm going to
super helps
share
as well.
so they can read it. So About Language, Beyond the Sentence, both of them by Thornbury. What's the one by Martin Parrot?
It's the grammar for English language teachers. Yeah, this.
Yeah, so 3 books that would be very useful. I would say that the one that I find the most useful is this one.
About language. Yeah.
Yeah, it's heavy reading, but it's fun. You know, it is fun. I like it. You learn a lot reading that. It's very rich reading, you know,
Because
it very
it feels
helpful.
like a course, right?
It feels like the course, it does. I mean, it's not a book that was made for the Delta. I mean, it's not like you're reading How to Pass the Delta, which is a book, and we do recommend as well. But it is a book that really helps you know more about language.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't say my perspective. I think that it's the second most fun task of the Delta. It's fun, but it's long. It's very long. I think I took 40 minutes doing this task in my paper. Yeah, so much to write, especially the parts about pronunciation. When they give you a sentence and ask you to talk about pronunciation, then you just, you know, you unleash hell.
Yeah. And
Yes.
how long do we have for each paper? Is it 90
1
minutes?
hour and a half. 1 hour and 90 minutes. Yeah. Yeah.
So you could say that as a rule of thumb, you should take around the number of marks to do each task. So this is 50 marks, so maybe 50 minutes. But then remember that the test is worth 100 points and not 90. So it's less than the total of marks there.
And then again, task 4 is worth 20 points. And I don't think you can't take 20 minutes in that task. First, because it's one of the easiest ones. So I think 10 minutes is like the longest
More
you
than
would
enough,
take. Yeah.
All right.
I think we have a wrap for this video, for this part.
And it's a wrap for paper 1.
It's a wrap for paper 1. Yeah. I really think that this helped you get to know paper 1, and that you were feeling like, maybe I could do this. And with the right amount of preparation, anybody can. It's very doable. Yeah.
It sure is.
Okay.
So on to paper 2.
Yes, and here we go, right? Well, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please take your time and do it now. Leave us a comment. Talk about, like, how much do you think you need to improve in terms of language awareness, right? The things that we discussed and that were present in this paper that we analyzed, were you aware of them already? Because if you were, that's a very good sign, right? And give us a like. We appreciate it. We'll see you in the next
Yep.
video. Thank you.
See you in the
Bye.
next video. Bye.